from Northern Michigan Soap Company. Today I thought I'd give you a little bit of a different introduction. Today we are going to be making two different kinds of soaps. I first am going to be doing the Orange Patchouli, and then I'm also going to be making a chocolate covered cherry high top soap. So I might have to break these up into two different videos for you. So it'll be part one and a part two. But before we get into that, I wanted to explain that I am a little late on posting this video, and that is because we all had the stomach bug. So as you can imagine, with 5 kids, we all had this bug, that one that got sick at like 11:30 at night, and then 12:30 that same night, and then an hour later we had a third one down, and then by the next morning we had the other 2 that were fully sick. So with 5 kids, all with a stomach bug, I had to delay my filming and making for a couple days, which you can understand why. So you might hear a little bit of ruckus in the background, and that is because I am filming today with all of my kids in the background. They're gonna try and be quiet, and they're gonna be working on some of their schoolwork while I'm trying to get this video made. We are a homeschool family, so just bear with us. So please, throughout the duration of the video, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, answer the polls that'll be in the upper corner. One of the corners, there'll be some polls. Comment if you have a question. I would like some comments for down below. Ask some questions that you've been wondering about. We're going to be doing a question and answer here coming up in a little while, and I need some questions to answer. So if you could help me out with that, I would be so grateful. So let's get to it. Let's start with our Orange Patchouli soap. Okay, so I mixed up my lye solutions. Since I'm doing 2 different kinds, I did 2 batches of my lye solution, since I'm doing 10 pounds of the Orange Patchouli, which is a goat milk soap, and then the chocolate covered cherries here. This is just gonna be my basic shea recipe. So what I did for my goat's milk, since I don't have any of the fresh goat's milk that I normally use, I had some powdered goat's milk, which is this kind right here. It's the Mayenberg whole powdered milk, goat's milk. So anyway, what I did to keep it from scorching is, once this lye solution cooled down to about 100 degrees, that's when I added in my powders. So you just have to be careful to follow the directions to equal the proper liquid ratio with adding the goat milk powder to your lye solution. Now here I have all of the oils for all of the batches. This is going to be 20 pounds worth of soap. As you can see, I still have a little bit of my coconut oils and shea butters and stuff on the side that didn't get in yet. But this here is 240 ounces worth of oil. So what I'm going to do for the master batching is I'm going to divide this in half, and then I'm going to use half of it for the Orange Patchouli goat's milk, and then the other half for the chocolate covered cherries, which I showed you the lye water for. Okay, so I have my oils here divided to the 120 ounces of oil that I need for my 10 pounds of the Orange Patchouli, and then I have my goat milk lye solution here. I pre-measured my essential oils. This is a 5-time orange from Bulk Apothecary, and I get the 5-time orange because it's more, I don't know, it's stronger, and so the fade or the scent won't fade as fast as a regular orange essential oil. And then I have the dark patchouli essential oil, also from Bulk Apothecary. So let's get started. We're gonna go ahead and add our lye solution to our oils. You can see some of the fats here that got separated a little bit and stuck to the bowl. We're gonna add those in. And we are not going to be adding any artificial fragrance or any color or anything. This is going to be 100% natural soap. Let me get my stick blender and we'll go ahead and whip this up. Burpee, burpee. All right. Okay, so now we brought the oils and the lye together. They have been binded, which some soapers call that emulsification, emulsion, or saponification. And that just means that the oils no longer are separate from the lye water, and the oils are now sticking to each other, which through this chemical process, this is how the bar of soap gets hard. We're gonna go ahead and add our essential oils now that we have gotten to this stage. And these oils, when in the finished product, are going to create a tannish orange colored soap. I'm going to bring this to a medium trace before we go ahead and pour into our molds. And I'll go ahead and speed this up for you. Okay, so the soap is now at about a medium trace. It's starting to get a little bit thicker, which is exactly what we want. I'm gonna move this aside. And then I have my two 5-pound molds, which the liners are from Nurture Soap, and then my father-in-law made the boxes that I have them in. So the reason I wanted this to be a little bit thicker is because we are going to do a textured top on it. And I'll show you what I mean by that with a spoon when I get all these poured in. Well, in my intro, I mentioned that I am a homeschool mom, and I am wondering if there are any other homeschool moms that might be interested in making soap or that are watching today. If you are a homeschool mom or have homeschooled in the past, please let me know in the comments. I would be so excited to know that I have other homeschool families watching me. I'm just gonna scrape out my pot. All right, and we're just gonna give these a few minutes to set up, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna use a spoon for our textured top. Okay, so it's been just a couple minutes, and while I waited, I finished my embeds for the chocolate covered cherry for the top with those melt and pour embeds. But now I'm back, and as you can see, it's set up a little bit, and that is exactly what I want for a spooned textured top.
So let's take a minute and talk about hobbies. Some of the things that I like to do are, my biggest thing really is just spending time outside. I love being outside. In the summertime, we do big gardens, and this year we just bought a new house. This last year, it's an old house that we're redoing, and we're turning it into our newest homestead. So I'm big into gardening and chickens and you name it for that kind of lifestyle. That is me. I just love being with the outdoors and doing things naturally. So go ahead and leave me a comment down below on your hobbies. What are some things that you really enjoy doing? So this here isn't quite as set up as I need it to be. So I'm going over it a couple times to try and get that mound that I'm looking for in the center.
Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my little bamboo dowel rods and I'm just going to do a little design on the top. All right, and there we are. These are done. We're going to go ahead and set these in our oven with the light on for a couple hours, and then I'll turn the light off, and these will continue to sit in the oven for about 18 to 24 hours. So we'll come back tomorrow and we'll give these a cut. Okay guys, now I am moving on to the chocolate covered cherries. So I went ahead and I used my little handy dandy mini mixer, and I went ahead and I mixed some of this red, and this is the really red mica from Nurture Soap. And then my brown, these are both going to be in the base. The brown here is actually cocoa powder mixed with oil, and the cocoa powder that I use, I actually have a Thrive membership, and so I order the natural, how do you pronounce that? Cacao powder, which is considered a superfood. It's organic, kosher, ethically sourced. So this is what I'm using for my cocoa powder in my soaps. Okay, so we are ready to mix our oils and our lye solution together. And the fragrance that we're going to be using today is actually the chocolate covered cherries fragrance from Nature's Garden. Let's go ahead and mix our lye in. Go ahead and whip this up, and I'll go ahead and fast forward this for you as well. Okay, so we have reached that point where all the oils have binded, and we are at a very light trace. I don't know if you can see that in the reflection or not, but there's a little bit of soap standing there. So now we're going to go ahead and divide out our soap into our colors. All right, so I went ahead and I measured out about 1.5 pounds of soap into the red. Let me move this so you can see. So I'm just gonna mix this in a little bit. I don't want it to get too thick yet because I'm not quite ready for that yet. All right, and now I'm gonna mix up my cocoa powder, and I only put a little bit of soap in this one because I actually am gonna color my entire base with this brown. So now that I have my red out too, I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. Oops, look at that. That's a rookie mistake right there. Oops, okay, I did it again. All right, so let's go ahead and mix this up. Okay, so I kind of messed up and I didn't do enough red for both of my 5-pound loaves. So I did a little bit more red. I made up a second one. And then my cocoa powder just wasn't quite enough of the brown that I'm looking for, so I did a little bit more of that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this fragrance oil, the chocolate covered cherries, and this has a higher vanilla content in it as well. So this also will make this soap turn brown, which is why I did not add it before I did the red, because I do not want the red to turn colors. I want the red to stay a nice bright red color. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this all in, and I'll go ahead and fast forward that for you. All right. Okay, we are ready to pour. All right, so since this is actually a little bit thicker than planned, I'm only gonna do it about halfway. Scrape up my pot. Look at that, guys. It's turning into sludge. All right, I'm just gonna pat this down a little bit. Kind of was coming out in clumps. Look at that. A 10-year veteran of soap maker, and I still messed up. It just shows that it can happen to any of us at any time. This top doesn't really matter how it looks like or what it looks like, because I'm going to cover it all up with piping anyway. So that's why I'm not really caring too much about the top. The only part that I really care about is down in the center of the loaf. And I think we did a fairly decent job taking care of that with our drop swirl. Don't want this edge here, this mess, to be on our piping, so that's why I'm gonna just try and wipe it up as much as I can right now while it's still good and wet. And I might as well do the same thing to this one, just to be sure. All right, guys, so there are these ones. I'm gonna let these ones set up a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and start getting my piping put together. Okay, so my piping is set up. We are ready to do the topping. It looks kind of like my color isn't going to be quite as brown as I like, but this really is a test batch for an event that's coming up. So now I know for the next batches I can add a little bit more brown. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol and I'm going to spray my top. Since it's been a couple hours, I just want to make sure that the piping is going to stick good to the base of the soap.
So for my piping, I'm using my large round tip, and first I'm going 3 across, and then for the second layer I'm going to go 2 across, and then for the last one it'll be 1 right down the center, and that one is going to be the one that the embed is going to be sitting in. So earlier, back when we were making the orange patchouli soap, we were talking about hobbies. And I was just thinking earlier, since we've had just winter storm after winter storm, and it has been really cold. We had that polar vortex that we just had a week or so ago. I was just thinking about how my hobbies all happen to include summer activities. I'm not really a huge winter person. However, I do own snowshoes, and I'll actually use them if my friends will come and drag me out of the house to use them. It really isn't my most favorite activity, but I'd rather be laying in the sun or digging in the dirt and doing something productive. Something that could, maybe feed my family, when we eat out of the garden, stuff like that. And we really do enjoy things like camping. The kids love to go camping, so we kind of like to travel a little bit in the summertime and visit new places. A couple years ago, we went down to Tennessee and we were visiting the mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful. And we've also made our way around a lot of Michigan, and that has been really enjoyable.
All right, so now I'm gonna put some Solar Storm glitter on the top before I put my embeds on. Look how shiny that is.
So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this glitter down both sides, and then I'm going to put the embed on the top in the middle. I probably should invest in one of those little glitter spray pumps, but I don't really know why I haven't yet. But it'd probably make it a little bit more even, and so it would be less gloppy. But for now, it's just me and my spoon.
With those 9-ball molds that I showed you that I got in my last embed video when I was doing the cherries, this is what I got them for. These are just, this is colored with the same cocoa powder that I used for the brown inside the soap, and this is the same melt and pour that was in that video.
Now if you look closely, you'll see the red lines that are on my mold box. And those red lines tell me where the wires of my cutter are going to be, and that is how I know where to line up these embeds.
All right, and that completes this first one right here. We're gonna go ahead and put this in the oven as well overnight, and we'll come back and cut it tomorrow.
So we are back about 18 hours later, and we are going to start by cutting our Orange Patchouli Goat Milk soap. Again, this soap has no artificial colors in it, so the color that you see here is from the patchouli and orange oils. Okay guys, this is the final cut of the day. We have our chocolate covered cherry soap, and that turned out absolutely gorgeous. The brown turned out a little bit better than what I was thinking it would. That vanilla in there really can make things darker, and it actually turned out the way I was hoping. So to help prevent drag marks, I'm actually going to turn this on its side, because all that glitter can get caught in the wire and drag down and cause some deep marks. So just have to line up the wires right in between. This is actually a lot harder than it looks because it's taller, and so it's harder to get the cutter down. Okay, so I'm going to pull one right out of the center. As you can see, it has a darker edge, and then it's more tan in the middle, and that's because the air hasn't gotten to it yet. But as it starts to dry, the inner brown will be the same color as the outer edge. Alright guys, this is all I've got for today. If you've liked this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and be sure that you've subscribed, and also be sure to leave me a comment down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.